Hello, dear students, grade 12. This is our third recording concerning Macbeth, explaining Macbeth, Act 4 and 5, because we have to know the end of our play. We know how it started, and we have to know the end of our play. Now, as I told you the last time, that Macbeth, because he had suffered from the appearance of the ghost of his friend Banquo in front of him, and he started to become worried and hesitated. He decided to go to visit the witches in order to know what's going to happen as regards his future. So the witches show Macbeth 3 apparitions. They told him at the beginning to beware of Macduff. They told him, take care of Macduff. Do you remember the last line which we read in Act 3, that Macduff, one of the generals, a famous general, he traveled to England in order to join Malcolm. Now, when Macbeth went to the witches to know more about his future, they told him, beware of Macduff. They also promised him that none of women born shall harm Macbeth. That means that most probably when you hear such words, you're not going to be afraid of any person. None of woman born shall harm you. And then they told him that he will remain safe, that Macbeth will remain safe except if Birnam Wood moves. And most probably, when you think, you find that it's very difficult. Shall trees move from their places? So he will feel a kind of comfort and nobody is going to defeat him. He feels comforted by these prophecies without seeing their double meaning. But actually these words have double meanings. But he is shaken most of the time by the appearance of the vision of Banquo, his friend, because of course, as I told you, he had killed him, and his 8 descendants. Malcolm, who is Malcolm, Duncan's son, who escaped to England because he felt that there is a kind of treason related to the death of his father. Malcolm tests Macduff's loyalty to Scotland, and they plan strategy with English forces to get rid or to attack Macbeth. Meanwhile, during that time, Macbeth has ordered that Lady Macduff and all her children are killed. The last act of our play, Act 5. Lady Macbeth had suffered from her deeds. She had psychological diseases. She suffered from walking during her sleep, and finally she committed suicide. She reveals her knowledge of the deaths of Duncan, Lady Macduff, and Banquo. Her continual washing of her hands cannot ease her dread or make her feel cleansed. And the doctor and his assistants, they couldn't help her. So actually she committed suicide. She killed herself. Macbeth is too involved with battle preparations against Malcolm and English and Scottish troops. So of course he couldn't help his wife, and he couldn't stand by to help her. When he hears of Lady Macbeth's death, he contemplates that life is full of sound and fairy, signifying nothing. And he reassures himself that nothing would worry me, because nothing is going to happen to me, because of course Birnam Wood is not going to move from its place. Macbeth sees the ambiguity of the predictions, but goes bravely into the battle. So Macbeth is going to fight against Malcolm and his team. He kills young Seward, who dies fearlessly, and then faces Macduff. Macduff told Macbeth that he was not of woman born. He was born by caesarean operation. He wasn't born normally. And actually Macduff had given orders to his army that each soldier would carry branch of tree. So when each soldier carries a branch of tree, it will appear in front of Macbeth that as if the wood is moving. Each soldier was approaching Macbeth and carrying what? A branch of tree. So as if Burnham Wood was moving. Macbeth refuses to yield to Macduff and face capture and ridicule. He confronts Macduff and bravely fights till he died in the battle. And that was the end of Macbeth, and of course Malcolm had become the King of Scotland. That was the end of our play. Thank you so much, my dear students. Hope that you've understood the play. It's quite easy. Revise your records and you will find that it's interesting. The coming records are going to be questions with model answers on Macbeth. Thank you so much and goodbye.